where the West begins in Fort Worth, Texas, to around the globe. You are listening to Talk of the Night. And now, your host, Paranormal Phil. Thank you, and good evening, good morning, wherever you may be around the world, around the globe, or even in your own backyard. I am Paranormal Phil, and it is Friday night. That means it's Friday night open lines, where you can call in and share your stories, experiences, or ask a question about the paranormal, dating and relationship, health and wellness, technology and science, veteran issues, conspiracies and politics. You can share your opinion and everything like that as well. Now, some of the things I might not know, and I will tell you I do not know them. Before we get into Friday night open lines, for those that do not know what open lines consist of, I want to mention a couple of rules. Please do not be rude to me or the callers. That will get you hung up real quick. Do not make any death threats or predictions about death or anything like that, just because I don't want my show shut down. Other than that, it's pretty simple. You can call in, again, share your stories, experiences, questions. Also, if you go to Spreaker.com, if you're listening there, sign in, and it's free to get an account on Spreaker. And I will be monitoring the chat from time to time there. And the show. So I am monitoring that. And before we open up the phone lines, there's a couple other things I want to mention. Tonight, I will be giving away a prize to one lucky listener. That prize is a classic t-shirt with a Talking the Night design on it. If you go to talkingthenight.com and click on store, you'll see the first one with it says HD drawing, that design, and it will be autographed. So that is for one lucky listener tonight during the second hour. Not the first hour, the second hour. Now, the way to win that prize is you must listen live. You cannot be listening to this on recording. You must be listening live. You must call into the show. And not just call in. You have to, when you call in, I will ask the question. I will prompt you to when you can call in to try and win that prize. Not just any time. You have to wait till I prompt for the call in for that prize. Now, the first person that gets the question right, and it'll be a simple question, it's from one of my guests that I had on this week, because I just started on Monday. I won't tell you which one. I'm not going to give you the answer. That's just not going to happen. That would be too easy. But I will give you a chance to win that t-shirt. $25 value free if you can answer the question correctly. Now, unlike what I do on Monday through Thursday with the guest, I will not only be monitoring, or I'm going to try and monitor why did it not post? On Facebook. Sorry, hold on, I'm just checking something. It did not post on Facebook. For a second there, but I will be monitoring the Facebook page as well and see if there's any chats there. Let me pull that up real quick, and then we'll get into a quick story before we open up the phone lines. So give me 1 second. I know I'm trying not to have any dead air, because dead air is a bad thing. If you know anything about radio. Alright, so I guess that's it. I don't know. Okay, I guess that's it. All right, so if you got any questions, like I said, I will give out the phone number to call in. I don't see it there, so hold on, I'll have to check on this. But let's get into a real quick story that's up on the Talking the Night website under a story of the day before we get into open lines. And that is, do Pentagon UFO files include encounters with werewolves and other paranormal beings? Now, you'll see a picture of a werewolf up there. Imagine looking out your window and seeing that. But unexplained sightings and experiences have been revealed by former officials through interviews. We now know now that about secretive programs, and there's been quite a bit of them that we've learned through the Freedom of Information Act request, and because of declassified documents that for many years the Pentagon, in connection with the Defense Intelligence Agency, had run these programs investigating the connection between UFOs or UAPs and the paranormal phenomenon. Retired DIA intelligence officer James Lakatsky, no, I probably butchered that name, and retired CIA operations officer Jim Simivan, who both worked on the top secret program, blew the lid on some of the cases investigated during that time. In an interview with Military.com, it mentioned investigations that included the USS Nimitz UAP sighting and Skinwalker Ranch in Utah, known for its strange phenomena. Of course, you can read more about that up on the Talking the Night website, again, talkingthenight.com. So let me see here. All right, so the phone lines are now open. The numbers to call in are by Skype, Talking the Night, or by phone at 817-717-1280. That, again, that's by Skype, Talking the Night, and by phone at 817-717-1280. So let's get a couple of questions here that I made up real quick. Well, I didn't make them up. I've gotten them from other sites to ask, because I know these are common questions that most people might ask, but if I get a call, I will go to those calls. So, is the Ouija board actually dangerous? And that's a common question that I've heard many times before. For those that do not know, I've been in the paranormal field at least 30 years, and of course, I've experienced quite a bit. I've had run-ins with the Ouija board. I've had experiences with it. Now, I will mention this, as I've mentioned it many times before on the show, back when I used to do it, before I had to stop and then start again this time. But I mentioned that the board itself is not actually dangerous. It's not a bad thing. It's the intent that is put into it. So if you put that bad intent into it, like you want to connect with something dark, a nature, dark entity, demon, whatever you want to call it, that's what you're going to get out of it. Now, a lot of times people have opened the doorway to connect with a loved one and left the door open to where people actually let something of a darker nature in. Now, I don't recommend people using the board itself because of that, but if you know how to close that door, open it and close it properly, go ahead. But if you do not, I do not recommend doing it. As far as the board being dangerous itself, no. Like I said, it's just a tool. It's what the intent that you put into it. Now, if you got a different opinion, I would love to hear it. Call into the show. Again, the numbers to call in are Talking the Night by Skype or by phone at 817-717-1280. Excuse me. So another question that I tend to get quite a bit because of my abilities to see and communicate with spirits is, can you develop psychic abilities? And the way I see it is everybody has that ability. Everybody has that ability, not just me. Now, a lot of people do not know how to unlock that ability. And everything like that. Let's see. I'm just checking something. For some reason, it posted twice. Okay. But anyways, yeah, people do not know how to actually unlock. A lot of people do not know how to actually unlock that ability. Now, I have attempted to help people unlock that ability, and there are several ways that people have been taught to unlock that ability. One of them, and the main way I tell people how to do that, is by meditation. With a couple other techniques thrown in there, such as being able to cut out sound and everything like that, and focus on that third eye. But as far as developing it overnight, if you lost that ability, it's not going to happen. It's going to take a while to open that ability once again, but to actually unlock it overnight, no. Now, excuse me. Sorry, I got a little bit of a sore throat tonight, so if you hear a moment of silence, it's probably because I'm either getting ready to cough or I'm getting a drink of water. But anyways, there are different ways to do it. Now, as far as, like I said, everybody has that ability. Just a lot of people do not know how to unlock that ability. And the way I describe it, and I coined this term, oh God, it's been over 10 years since I coined this term, the Santa Claus effect. And I've made people open up their eyes to think about this differently because of this explanation. So if you do have kids, young kids, please have them tune away, whether you're listening live or to the recording, just because I do not want to destroy their illusion of Christmas and everything like that. I promise. I'm a good guy. But I don't want to destroy their illusion. But what I describe as the Santa Claus effect is, when we're younger, we're told that Santa Claus is real. As we grow older, we're told that he's not real. Well, the same thing goes with being able to see and communicate with spirits. And again, if I'm wrong, let me know. Or if you got a different thought on it, let me know. Call into the show, let me know. But when we're young, our minds are not corrupted by the everyday world, so we're able to actually see and communicate with spirits. Now, if you see like an animal or a child staring off into the distance or into a corner or something like that, or talking to an unseen person or force there, chances are that they are talking to a spirit. And a lot of times that's usually going to be the case. But there are times when it could be just imaginary. Now, where we lose that ability is as we grow older. As I said with the Santa Claus thing, as we grow older, we're told he's not real. Well, same thing with the paranormal. As we grow older, we're told that it's just our imagination. It's not real. Nothing is there. Stuff like that. And that ability gets pushed from the front of our minds, the conscious mind, conscious mind, all the way back to the subconscious mind. and it's locked away a lot of times deep in there. Now, that's where like people like James Randi and other highly skeptical people of the unexplained, the paranormal, and stuff like that are coming from, because they were told at an early age that it's not real. It's just their imagination. Nothing like that exists, or it doesn't exist. And their ability is still there. They just don't know how to unlock that ability. Now, skepticism itself is not bad, especially in the paranormal field, because if you have a little bit of skepticism, it is healthy because it keeps you from saying everything is the paranormal. But it also a double-edged sword where if you are truly all skeptic, you're going to say that it's not real without opening your mind to the possibility that it is something there. Again, it's a checks and balances where if, say, like James Randi, I believe that if a Sasquatch, Bigfoot, showed up right in front of him, he would still say it was somebody in a costume on stilts or something like that. He would not believe it. Rather than open the possibility, could this be real? Or could this be like a bear or some other animal? Or what is this creature? Or could it actually be a cryptid creature that we do not know about? Same thing with ghosts. If a spirit showed up right in front of him, he'd probably say trick of light, smoke and mirrors, stuff like that. And I know there are people out there that will think that way. But open your mind to the possibility. Roll out everything. Because like when I go to investigation, I try to roll out every terrestrial explanation there is on what is happening. Now, I do not really do investigations anymore, just because I'm so busy with the radio show, one. Two, I can't get around as easy as I used to be able to. Now, I do still like to go out to haunted locations, especially here in Fort Worth, Texas. The Stockyards is pretty haunted. I do like visiting other places. I've visited Goatman's Bridge out here in Texas. So I will go out to haunted locations, but to actually spend 3 to 6 to 8 hours at a location, no. I just can't do that anymore. But spend maybe an hour, 2 hours, yes. But always keep an open mind to the possibility that there could be something to it. Now, like, let's take a UFO sighting that I had a long time ago. It's been probably about 20 years or more. And I looked up into the sky. Now, UFO doesn't mean that it is extraterrestrial in any nature by any means. It just means it's unidentified flying object. Now, somebody had sent me a video that they took, lights in the sky at night. And I took a look at it and looked at it objectively. And, of course, video on a phone or even on a computer screen from a phone is a little difficult to see. And of course, when you use a phone and everything, you look at the moon and everything, you can see it with your naked eye perfectly. But if you're looking at it through the lens of a phone or a camera that doesn't have really that digital zoom to where you can actually zoom in on the moon craters itself and everything like that. I do have a camera that can do that. Not as clear as some cameras, but it can zoom in that good. But anyways, to see it in person versus seeing it on a phone camera or a digital camera that doesn't have that great of a zoom, then it's a little more difficult to do. But anyways, getting back to looking at this video, I looked at it and I noticed that there was a possibility that the lights were actually possibly planes coming in to Ontario or the Air Force Air Reserve Base there in Southern California, because she was not that far from the Air Reserve Base and not too terribly far from Ontario International Airport. So I said, could it actually be planes coming in to one of those places? And she was open to the possibility, yes, that could be the case. Now, could it be extraterrestrial? I don't know. But again, what UFO means is unidentified flying object. It does not mean that it's extraterrestrial. A lot of people associate UFOs with extraterrestrial. USOs, under surface objects. And that means that could it be something of a biological nature, an animal, a whale, or something like that? Could it be something else that we haven't discovered yet? Because we know more about space than we do about our oceans. And yes, it could be something like that, but it also could be something of extraterrestrial nature. We do not know unless we actually know that it is a UFO where we can actually identify the object. So to say it is extraterrestrial in nature, like I said, a lot of people mistake UFO for extraterrestrial because everybody has been, I don't want to say brainwashed, but people have been brainwashed, but they've been told that UFO equals extraterrestrial. And again, a lot of cases that's not. Another story, but getting back to my story about seeing an extraterrestrial UFO, not extraterrestrial, UFO. Now, whereas that one, lights in the sky, could be just planes coming at her that way, coming towards her, compared to what I saw one time, I could kind of discern whether it was extraterrestrial or terrestrial. And I believe that was extraterrestrial because it zipped at a high speed, which is nothing new. I mean, it could be a jet aircraft, but to stop on a dime, switch past, go back the other way, stop on a dime, and zoom back the other way. That, we do not have anything that we know of. Now, does our government have some of that technology to do something like that? Quite possible. There's a lot that we do not know that our government holds secrets about. But I believe that that was possibly extraterrestrial in nature. Excuse me. Again, the phone lines are open. If you want to call in, again, the number to call in is by Skype, Talking the Night, or by phone at 817-717-1280. Call in, share your experiences, your stories, everything like that. Until then, I will go off of questions that I got, next stories, everything like that to talk about. Now, talking about aliens, what is an alien? What is alien life? Is there different? Do you think aliens exist? And yes, I do believe they do exist. Okay, just getting a notification on Facebook. It's like, why are you live when I'm live? But to each their own. But again, do you think aliens exist? And I do believe they do. There's too much evidence out there to say whether they do or not. I mean, I believe they do because, I mean, look at the size of the universe. Even though we know more about space than we do about our oceans, we don't know everything about space. We don't know what's beyond a certain area, and we can't monitor the whole sky at one time. So to say that they don't exist or something is not out there, there's got to be something out there. Now, whether they're benevolent or friendly, mean, like a reptilian or a Nordic or a Anunnaki. I mean, there's different people that say there's different races of extraterrestrials, and I do believe that to be the case. Again, I have no evidence to doubt people's words about it unless I actually got evidence written or visual evidence to prove otherwise. So each person's experience is going to be different. And like me, I've had sightings of a UFO. Like I said, I've had sightings of Bigfoot, but that was my experience to experience, and whether you want to believe it or not, that's up to you. I'm not going to tell you you can't believe it. I'm not telling you can believe it. You have to make up your mind. Now, I do not have actual photographic proof, just because I was working out in the forest and I didn't have a camera with me, and it was the early 90s, so I would have had to have one of those roll-up cameras and actually take the film in and have it developed and everything like that. So, yeah, I did not have a way to get proof. Now, today's day and age, there is so much technology out there with our phones. The cameras on our phones are getting better and better, but they're not quite the best. And then, of course, a lot of the filming that you see when people are trying to film UFOs or Bigfoot, it's shaky because you try holding the camera steady. It's not the easiest thing unless you have a tripod. And who's going to have a tripod handy when you're out walking in the forest or hiking out in the forest, in the woods and everything? Who's going to have a tripod handy? Who's going to have a tripod handy while looking up at the sky unless you're actually looking at the stars and looking through a telescope with the camera lens? Who's going to have that on hand? So trying to hold a camera or a phone steady in your hand is practically impossible. So that's why people notice a lot of these videos, these photos that they get of cryptid creatures or UFOs or whatever, or spirits, tend to be blurry, tend to be shaky, stuff like that. And again, this is coming from 30 years experience in the paranormal. So, again, you can take my word for it or not. But we're going to get back into more questions, more stories after the commercial break. And also, we'll have the phone lines open after this commercial break where you can call in and share your stories, experiences, or questions about the paranormal or anything else that the show covers. We'll be right back after the short commercial break.
Here comes the good girl. You'll drown slowly with her in command. Beautiful ships sing quietly as you helplessly stand. Watch her as she takes hold of your lips and your tongue. The kiss of kindness is never in anyone's eyes wrong.
Do you have a talk radio, Facebook Live, or YouTube show and would like guests for your show but don't know where to go to get them? Well, go to radioguestlist.com and sign up today. They have all different experts in different fields, and you can find the ones that are just right for your show. That's radioguestlist.com. Sign up today. It's free.
To advertise on Talking the Night, send an email to talkingthenight@outlook.com. Talking the Night has plans to fit your budget. Get your product or business heard around the world by the Talking the Night listening audience. Plans include 30-second spots and banner ads on the show's website and mentioned on the social media sites. So get your product or business heard around the world today. Shop the Talking the Night merch store today and pick up one of the many products with 9 different designs to choose from. The store has men's and women's apparel, drinkware, houseware, and accessories. Pick up a t-shirt, coffee mug, or anything else on there and support the show today. Go to talkingthenight.com to find a link to the merch store.
Well, I'm going down to Georgia, place where folks call home, and on to Carolina, place where I was born. Good morning, Music City, I've got a song for you, and God Almighty Lord paid my dues. Good God, I paid my dues from Mississippi on to Alabama, from Louisiana on to Texarkana.
To call into the show, Skype Talking the Night, or by phone at 817-717-1280. Now back to Talking the Night with your host, Paranormal Phil.
Okay, and we are back with back with open lines. I almost said back with my guests. I forgot it's Friday night. We do have open lines, so if you want to call in, share your stories, experiences about the paranormal or anything else, or your opinion about it, I welcome those. Also, if you got a question about the paranormal, feel free to ask me. Like I said, I have 30 years experience, and after the next break, commercial break, I'll let you know when we're going to open up the phone lines to give away that shirt. Again, you must call in. You must be listening to the show live. You must call into the show while it's live, and you must answer the question correctly. But again, that will be in the second hour of the show after the next commercial break. So let's get into some more story. Actually, let's get into a story. This is liveabout.com on their creepy paranormal stories. Voice in woman's head diagnosed her brain tumor. Now, could this voice in her head be from brain signals in her brain and this is kind of goes on the paranormal and as well as on the paranormal and also on the health and wellness type topic. Again, I'm not too familiar with the health and wellness, but I will leave that up to guests when I have them on talking about it. But in 1984, a woman was sitting at home reading when she suddenly heard a clear voice inside her head. The voice told her, "Please don't be afraid. I know it must be shocking for you to hear me speaking to you like this, but it's the easiest way I could think of. My friend and I used to work at the Children's Hospital. Great Ormond Street, and we would like to help you. After a series of medical tests, including psychological assessments, the patient was eventually diagnosed with a large benign melanoma brain tumor. The voice continued to speak to her throughout the medical testing. After she had surgery to remove the tumor, the patient heard from the voices one last time after regaining consciousness, when she had heard them say, "We are pleased to have helped you. Goodbye." She reported no post-surgical problems and never heard the voices again. The study of a patient diagnosing her own brain tumor with help of mysterious voices in her head was published by the British Medical Journal. Now, looking at that story and reading it, could that have been paranormal in nature? Yes, it could be. But I'd like to offer a different point of view, a different thought on that. And that would be, could she have kind of in a way known that it was there, and that the voices were made up in her head because she knew that that was there? Or could she have been told this before, and that just was in the deepest part of her subconscious, brought forward by maybe a misfire in her brain because of the tumor? Again, there's a lot of possibilities. And again, I'm just going off of what the story says, giving you my thought on it and everything like that. But there is the possibility of that. Again, like I said, I have a little bit of a skeptical mind when it comes to the paranormal and everything like that. And I tend to kind of, if you will, use that skeptical side a little more than I do my wholehearted belief into the paranormal. Because, again, it keeps me in check. Like I said, yes, I could easily say it was paranormal in nature. It was a loved one telling them that passed on, or somebody was speaking telepathically to them. Yes, I could say that. But without knowing this person, without actually hearing it from them, just reading the story alone, my mind also goes to the thought, could there be something else that caused the voice? Again, I'm not saying it's paranormal. I'm not saying it's not paranormal. I'm just giving you my thought, my opinion on it. And again, if you'd like to call into the show and give me your opinion on anything that I talk about tonight, questions that I answer, or stories that I read, I welcome it. Again, just don't be rude about it. Or if you got a question or story or experience of your own and want my professional opinion on it, I will take those calls as well. Again, the number to call in is by Skype, Talking the Night, or by phone at 817-717-1280. Now, I know it's a Friday night and a lot of people are out. And, of course, I just started this show back up onto the air on Monday. So I know it's going to take a while to build the audience back up. Excuse me. So I get it if people don't want to call in, but eventually I'm going to get to the point where I'm going to be getting a ton of calls. So while I'm still new to it and there's plenty of phone lines open, not busy signal, now is the time to actually call in if you want a question or answered or mention a story or experience or even your opinion on something that I talk about tonight. But again, I'm not going to force anybody to call. But again, like I said, if you want to win that prize, that t-shirt with a Talk in the Night design on it, you must call into the show while it's live, you must answer the question that asks correctly. If you're listening after this is recorded, do not call in because I will not answer it. I will not answer the Skype call or the phone call number. And you will not win. You must listen live. You must call in live while I'm live, and you must answer the question live. So let's get into another story here. And again, if you want to ask the question, say you don't want to call in. Say you just want to type the question in. Go to Spreaker.com, sign up for an account. It's free. You don't have to post anything. You can just have an account on there. It's free to have. And then you can sign in and you can enter the chat. Go to this live Friday Night Open Lines episode. Click on it. And at the bottom on a computer, there's a chat, not chat bubble, but it used to be a chat bubble, but now it's just a line where you can type in your thing there, or on phone you can also type it the same way. So Spreaker has made some advancements and everything like that. So if you want to do that where it's not live over the air and you want to ask your question, you can do it that way. Also Facebook, if you go to one of the posts, I'll look at that every once in a while, type in your question there, I'll answer it. But only live. If you type it in after I'm live, then it'll have to be wait until next week, Friday Night Open Lines, for me to answer it. So let's get into another story as I was talking about here. Let me check Facebook real quick just to make sure that we do not have any questions. All right, so it looks like no questions. So, anyways, let's get into another story real quick. Imaginary friend or a visiting relative. Now, like I said earlier in the show, when we're young, young kids, our minds are not corrupted by the everyday world, and we're able to see the spirit world and communicate with them. A lot of times. Hey, Nicole, welcome to the chat. Again, it's just that easy. My grandfather passed away just a few. Let's get into this story real quick. Like I said, imaginary friend or visiting relative. My grandfather passed away just a few weeks after I was born. I never met the guy, never knew what he looked like. When I was 5 years old, I started to see this man in our rocking chair. I called him the rocking chair man. My parents thought it was that imaginary friend stage, but it started to bug them when I told them every single day. And I've heard about this before, people never meeting the person but can describe them to a T. And that's when you know it is not just an imaginary friend. Like I said, this kid was never knew his grandfather. He died a few weeks after he was born. So how could he know what he looked like? Unless he somehow was able at a very young age, able to see him in person, memorize his face and everything like that, but I don't think that's the case. But continue on in the story. They finally questioned me about it. I told them every detail I could remember, and finally they showed me a picture of the man. It was my grandfather. To this day, I'm now 22. Every time I dream, he is in the background somewhere. I remember when I dreamed about my high school graduation and looked in the stands and I saw him with my parents. I like to think that he's just watching out for me and being there when he's not really there. And see, with that, I mean, they're always going to be there. The spirits are always going to be there. Yes, they can cross over, but they're not. The spirit world is not bound by our time and space. They can go to Pluto, whatever, and we talked about this on Monday night with my guest Bruce Olaf Solheim, talking about them possibly being like extraterrestrials, being interdimensional beings, the same, being able to do the same as the spirit world. And we really don't know what's on the other side, what is on the other side of the spirit world. We can only speculate. We can be told by the spirits what they see, but to actually know what's on that side, what happens after we leave this, our soul leaves this earth and everything like that, that is up for debate. And only till we get to that point will we really know. Now, I've had a friend on, I mean, he's been gone for a few years now, but I had him on my show one time. He had a near-death experience, and he mentioned about being able to stand there and see the paramedics working on him after he had a seizure. And near-death experiences and actually after-death experiences, I think, could be a little bit different. But again, we do not know until we actually get to that point. We can only speculate on what is on the other side. But again, they can go to the spirit world. The spirits can go to Pluto if they want. And that's why I brought up talking about interdimensional beings like Bigfoot or extraterrestrial. Could they be coming through some wormhole? Could they be coming through some type of portal? A lot of people believe that there are portals from the spirit world to our realm. And that is quite possible the same way that extraterrestrials and Bigfoot gets around. Now, I mean, think about it. If you think about it, if you go out looking for Bigfoot, a lot of times you don't see him. But could it be that it's because they've gone through some portal or they've gone through something that you can't tell where they went through? Like the Loch Ness Monster, there's people that believe there is an underwater cavern that links the Loch to the ocean, and that Nessie comes back into the Loch to spawn, and that's why a lot of people do not see her that often, or when they try to scan the Loch, they tend not to get anything on the sonars. Could that be a possibility? Yes, quite possibly the case. But again, these are things that I think about in the 30 years that I've been in the paranormal field, and I would love to hear your take on it. Again, like I said, the phone lines are open to call into the show. Skype Talking the Night, or by phone at 817-717-1280. I would love to hear your thoughts on it. Again, if you got a question, you got a story, experience that you want to share, opinion of anything that the show talks about. Again, we don't just talk about the paranormal, but we also talk about health and wellness, technology and science, dating and relationships, politics and conspiracies, and veteran issues. Now, the only topics that I am the paranormal for certain, But other than that, the other topics that I'm pretty certain I can answer something on or give you my opinion on is political and conspiracies, and of course veteran issues, because I am a veteran myself. But when it comes to technology and science, just not my cup of tea, but I will try to answer those questions. And I think I did pull up a couple of technology questions. So I will try to answer those questions. I will try my best to answer health and wellness questions, but I'm no medical doctor, so that would just be opinions or my thoughts on it if I do answer it. But if I can't answer it, I will let you know I cannot answer it. So again, the phone lines are open if you want to call in. Another question is, what is the scariest case you've ever been a part of? And I'm going to end with this question before take this question and then go into the commercial break afterwards. But what is the scariest case I've ever been a part of? And that one would have to actually be, it was a team that I was working with, and we called it the Demon Behind the Garage case. Now, personally, I don't believe in demons, if you will, in the sense of the word angels and demons. Now, I do believe there are light entities and dark entities. Now, each religion is going to have their belief systems, what they call them, deities, angels, demons, dark entities, light entities, whatever you want to call them. In a way, they all connect. And the way I see it is a dark entity could be a demon, if you want to use that word. But I tend to use the word dark entity or light entity. But anyways, the case was not mine to name, so we called it the Demon Behind the Garage case. And we were contacted by this lady. No names are going to be given, just because, one, I don't remember the name of the lady that contacted us, and two, I'm not going to mention street names. I will mention it was in Riverside, California, but other than that, I will not give a specific location. Now, we were contacted by this lady because she believed her sister was dabbling in a little bit more of the darker arts of things. And because I am known to be able to work with the darker things to cleanse homes of that stuff, that's why I was called in. But we went to the location and we did our thing the best that we could. But when I go into a location to cleanse a home or something, or a business or something like that, once I get rid of it, it is up to you to keep it away. I can't just make it go away and it disappears forever. That's just not how it works. Because again, the spirit world is not bound by our time and space. But it's up to you to keep it away. But these people continued to practice in the dabble in the black arts, if you will, the occult. And we got called back out. And this lady, her sister, who's the one that called us, she was kicking her sister out, the one that called us. And we went to the house to speak to her while she wasn't there. The sister that lived in the house that was kicking her sister out was on the front porch with all her sister's stuff and sweeping the porch. At first, she was nice as could be. Nice as could be. And then something flipped. And I'll tell you why it flipped here in a second. But we were talking, we were out in the street, we were We were just there to talk to the sister. We didn't even go into the yard or even the sidewalk, which is public sidewalk. We stayed out in the street out of respect. And again, she said her sister will be home to get her stuff. She's kicking her out because of something. No telling what happened. Now, whether the sister had anything to do with the dabbling of the black arts, the occult, quite possible. We don't know. But this is what we're told. But we're standing out there and waiting for the sister to show up. Now, I was the only one that noticed this. Our other psychic medium that was there did not pick up on it until it was too late. Me, I noticed it out of the corner of my eye, and I immediately knew that something was going to happen. Well, from behind the garage, I see these red glowing eyes. And you think, okay, that's something that you would see out of a horror movie, but it actually happened. Then this is my experience. Again, you can believe me or you don't believe me. I really don't care. I'm giving you my account of what happened and telling you about my experience and what I saw, what I would do about it too if it was somebody else asking that question or telling me that story. But anyways, from the corner of the garage, this thing jumped into this lady on the porch, sweeping up, and immediately, like a light switch being flipped on, she said, "You need to leave now. You need to get out of here." And we're like, "We're out in the street. We'll wait out here." And she's like, "No, you must leave. I'll call the police." Automatically, like I said beforehand, she was like, "Fine, I mean, you're welcome to wait if you want." And then all of a sudden, "You must leave." But like I said, this thing did not want us there. It knew me from the previous time. And again, they allowed it to be there because what we had found on the first case was behind the garage was makeshift crosses with burlap wrapped around the cross, upside down with blood on them. So we know that it was somebody dealing with the occult, and I'm believing it was the sister that was on the porch sweeping, or somebody else that lived in the home, like her boyfriend or something like that. But somebody was messing with the occult. And so we left. We called the sister up that we got contacted by. We met her at a coffee shop in downtown Riverside. I'm not going to mention the coffee shop either. But from there, we started talking to her. And it wasn't that far away from the location, but again, I'm not giving that out. But this spirit had followed us there and was trying to get us to get a further away, to get rid of us completely. It did not want anything to do with me. Now, of course, being who I am, having the abilities that I have, it made me a little bit sick, but it did not actually affect me too bad. Now, other people, it was affecting like crazy. Even our psychic medium, it was affecting her. The lady that called us, when she showed up, it was affecting her. It did not want us around. It did not want me around because it knew I was stronger than it. But when you have something like that, and I'm going to mention this before we go into commercial break, if you're ever in that situation, do not try to get rid of it yourself if you do not know what you're doing, because you're going to do more harm than good. Again, me, I'm trained at this stuff, and even me, it affected. So we're going to go into a commercial break, but after we come back, I will mention about the prize that I will be giving away to one lucky caller to win, and also more phone calls, questions, stories, experiences, all that when we come back after the short commercial break. We'll be right back.
Hey highway, what do you say if we took some time and wandered down your wide lines? Hey highway, you know I can't stay, and the leaving ain't as hard as staying gone. Hey highway, hey horizon, I'm keeping my eyes.
The weather is getting warmer and people are out and about. Well, if you love ghost hunting, now is the time to pick up some new gear. GhostStop.com has a wide variety of equipment to choose from, and one of those items is Blue Buddy. He's back. The talking bear every investigator wants on their team. Click on the Ghost Stop banner ad at the top of the show's website and pick up your Blue Buddy today. Go to spring.com and sign up to create your own design or choose from a design from one of the many creators on there. Spring has ways to integrate your store on social media, custom stores, and they have digital and physical products. While you're there, check out the Talk in the Night merch store. To get started with Spring today, click on the banner ad on the Talk in the Night website. Go to the show's website and click on the links for each of my guests and purchase a book or other product that they may be promoting. Without them, there would be no Talk in the Night. Whether you're interested in the paranormal, conspiracy, technology, health, relationships, or any other topic the show covers, my guests have something for you. Check it out today on TalkingTheNight.com.
Call into the show, Skype Talk in the Night, or by phone at 817-717-1280. Now back to Talk in the Night with your host, Paranormal Phil.
Okay, and we are back with Friday Night Open Lines, where you can call in, share your stories, experiences, or question about the paranormal. Also, if you got a story or experience about political stuff or conspiracies or health and wellness or dating and relationship or technology and science or veteran issues, I will try to answer them the best that I can. Now, again, like I said, the paranormal I'm pretty good at because I've been in the field 30 years. I've been able to see spirits since I was 5 years old, so I got a good handle on that. I got a little good handle on the political and conspiracy stuff, and I do have a little bit on the veteran issues because I am a veteran myself. So, okay, I just got notification that this YouTube channel that I watch that's done out of Southern California, I love watching the commentary on it. Smoke and Scan, I'll give him a shout out because he's already given my show a shout out. But I just got notification that he's live because there's a police pursuit out in California. I love his commentary on it. But anyways, I'll catch it later. I'll rewind the YouTube and watch the chase, unless it's still going on when I'm out there. But and there is a chance that that'll happen. But anyways, let's get back into questions, stories, experiences that you may have, the phone calls and everything like that. Also, this hour, I'm going to do that here in a moment. I'm going to get one more question in before I open up the phone lines. Now, to win the prize, again, for those that might be tuning in late, the prize is a classic tee with the Talk in the Night host drawing design with it. You can find that on talkingthenight.com under the store tab. It's the first design up there. A $25 value free, but you must call in. You must listen live to the show. You must call in while I'm live tonight, and you must answer the question correctly. If you call in after the show is over, I will not answer it. If you try to type the answer on Facebook, I will not give you the prize that way. You must call into the show while I'm live. You must and you must answer the question correctly to win the prize. Now, it's not a hard question if you've been listening all week, Monday through Thursday. I will give you this bit of information. It is about one of my guests. It's a fairly simple question, so you can find it if you need to, but I'm not going to give you the answer. I will not give you the answer. And thanks for sharing the show, Nicole. But let's get one more question in, then I will open the phone lines for you to have a chance to win that t-shirt. And not only is it the t-shirt with the design on it, it will be autographed. Now, only that design will be autographed. Now, say you want another design that's on the store, and it has to be like just a simple classic t-shirt, then I will gladly give you that t-shirt, but it will not be autographed. The only one that will be autographed is the host drawing shirt. And again, it's just a black and white shirt, but it will have my Paranormal Phil signature on it. So let's get into one more question before we open up the phone lines for anybody that wants to win that thing. Now, let's see, what question should I go? What are your thoughts on the spirit box? Now, personally, I do not like using spirit boxes. I love using my own ability to see and communicate with spirits. Because just like any tool, like I mentioned earlier in the show about the Ouija board, a digital recorder is just a tool. Even our minds are a tool. But something electronical like that, or like a board, can easily be manipulated. Whereas the mind, it's a little more difficult to be manipulated. But anyways, my thoughts on a spirit box, and I'm not saying people shouldn't use them. I'm not saying that they don't get contextual evidence from them. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I don't like to use them because they can be manipulated. If you think about the old Radio Shack hacks, they're Frank Spots. They're scanning through radio stations, and you might get a word here and there out of a show. And does it mean that it's the spirit talking to you? No. Doesn't mean that at all. It could just be contextual to what you might be talking about, but does it mean it's the spirit? Most likely, a lot of times, no. Now, yes, there are times that, yes, it could be. If you ask a specific question like, what is the color of my shirt? And you got on a blue shirt and it says blue, there is a good chance that that is a spirit trying to communicate through it. Now, if you notice when you go into a location, if you've ever been investigating and like a camera shuts off or the digital recorder shuts off or something electronic shuts off, your phone, it's probably because the spirit is trying to use the energy from that, the batteries in it or whatever, trying to use that energy, that electromagnetic energy to manifest. Now, there are other ways besides spirit boxes that you can hear the spirit. You don't need a digital recorder sometimes. I mean, there have been times that that you can hear them audibly, where you do not need the equipment. People have heard things like footsteps or even a whisper in their ear when they don't have a spirit box or a digital recorder or anything like that. And I tend to believe those a little bit more, but also at the same time, and I was talking about this with my guest last night, is that when you're in a building with quite a few people, it tends to open the door for people whispering and you don't know that they whispered, and this is where that skeptical side comes into play, is because you got to look at everything and make sure that it was not terrestrial in nature. It was something that was spiritual or a ghost or whatever. But look at it in a skeptical light. Now, Nicole says, I'd like to share something. Why would a spirit try to scare me lately, waking me up and tell me negative messages? I will get to that here in a second, but I do want to open up the phone lines. If you want to call in and win the shirt, the autographed shirt, do it now. Well, not now. Hold on. Let me correct that. Let me ask the question first. I can't have you calling in. I could have you call in and then ask the question, but I want to give people a chance to look it up if they want to try and find the answer so they can find the answers to win it. So I'm a little more easier on that than most hosts might be. But here's the question to win that shirt. And I'm not going to do this every Friday. Eventually, I'm going to start getting stuff from my guests to give away on Friday. But this one, since it's brand new, I wanted a promo to give away. A shirt is a promo thing to get more people to tune in. But anyways, here's the question. On Monday night, my guest, Bruce Olaf Solheim, we were talking about his book, An Ancient Alien Mystic. What was the name of the alien, the ancient alien? That's the question. What was the name of the ancient alien from his book? That was on Monday night with my guest, Bruce Olaf Solheim. Call in now. The numbers to call in are by Skype, Talking the Night, or by phone at 817-717-1280. Now, you must call in while I'm live. You must answer the question correctly. You don't get a second chance at it. You only one chance per person, because I want to give people a chance to win it if they call in. So only one chance. So make sure that you have the answer if you're going to call in and guess. So while we wait for any call in to get the answer, let's get to Nicole's question here in the chat. Like I said, if you go to Spreaker.com and look up Talk of the Night. Sign up for a Spreaker account. It's free. You do not have to broadcast anything on Spreaker. I just happen to use it because I know the platform. I know the software that they use. And, of course, now they offer a monetization thing where you can make money off of the radio show. So, yeah, I like that. But let's get into Nicole's question here. Why would a spirit try to scare me lately, waking me up and tell me negative messages? Now, I know Nicole. I've talked to her. I've met her in person. So I can answer this with a little more certainty than just some random person asking me that question, because I'm not going to open myself to the spirit world to ask them that question. But since I know her and everything like that, I will answer it what my thoughts are on it, because she does do a lot into the paranormal. And as I was mentioning earlier with the Ouija board or the digital recorder, it's a tool. And anything that you use to contact the spirit world is a potential opening for something darker to come in. And unless you know how to close that door, it is a chance that you have to literally close it right away. You cannot leave it open, because the more it's open, the more is going to come through. Like I said earlier, talking about the Ouija board, the board itself is not bad. It's the intent put into it. Now, I'm not saying that Nicole puts bad intent into it, because I know she doesn't. But anyways, this is for anybody. If you put in that intent, and that intent is bad, you're going to get out something negative out of it. But even if your good intentions to talk to loved ones, and you open that door and you don't know how to close it, or you don't close it, you're allowing something to come through, and that thing is going to come through that doorway. It could be a sliver, and it's going to come through that doorway. And it's going to cause problems. So, without opening myself to the spirit world, I would say you left the door open, and it came through. Yeah, exactly, Nicole. And Nicole says in the chat, or if you're experiencing some stressful issues and that comes out negative. Yes, if you got a negative outlook on things, that is not the time to actually try to be communicating with spirits, because you're going to allow that negativity to influence that door being open, and you're going to allow something. Now, to get rid of it, that's a whole nother thing. And that's usually where I get called in a lot of times, or I used to be called in a lot of times to get rid of it, but I'm a good 1,500 miles away. So I have to do something like that remotely. But anyways, to actually close that door, it's a little more difficult than opening it. And I mentioned this last night with my guest Sylvia Schultz. To close that door, it's a lot harder to do than to open that door. Because opening the door, let's put it this way. If you open a door to a house, turn the key, you open it, turn the knob, open it. It stays open. But if you try to close it, there's a lot of times that, okay, let's say the wind is blowing, it holds it back a little bit. or maybe you're not all the way in the door, or somebody puts their foot in the door, it's a little harder to close than it is to open. I mean, that's just the best explanation I can to give on that. And I will talk to you at a later time, Nicole, on that, just because that takes a while to do, and it's not a quick fix either. It takes time, it takes energy, and I just don't have the energy to do something like that right now. So, we'll talk about that later. Right now, I'm just so busy with the radio show, with the guests, with all the sound checks I have to do. Again, I just started this show back again to the airways on Monday, and I am booked up for a month in advance. And I still got people contacting me that I haven't gotten to yet. I'm going to try and get to them sometime this weekend, and I will probably be booked up for 3 months in advance. So if you want to be a guest on the show, I want to mention this. If you want to be a guest on the show, send your information to me at talkingthenight@outlook.com. I will look it over and I will contact you back. Now, it might take a bit because I am also the show's booking agent, so I also contact the guest and everything like that. I do everything that a radio show has like 20 people to do, and everything like that. So I'm probably booked, once I'm done, I'm probably going to be booked 3 months in advance. But right now I'm booked a little more than a month in advance. Okay. So, again, if you want to be a guest on the show, send that information over to talkingthenight@outlook.com, and I will look at it as soon as I can. So let's get into another question. Also, if you want to win that T-shirt, autographed T-shirt, give me a call by Skype at Talking the Night, or by phone at 817-717-1280. The question is, here's the question once again, and I'll only give it out one more time after the next commercial break, but one more chance after the commercial break. But the question is, on Monday night, I welcomed my guest, Bruce Olaf Solheim, and we talked about his book. What was the name of the ancient alien on the book? And that's the question to win the T-shirt. So if you want to win, you must call in while I'm live, not after it's recorded and off the air, because I will not, after I'm off the air, I will not be answering Skype. I will just hang up right on you. And next Friday night, I will have Friday night open lines once again with questions and everything like that, and stories and open lines. But I will not be giving away a T-shirt or anything like that. So let's get into another question here. If you got any more questions, Nicole's, feel free to ask them. Again, if you don't want to call in, but you want to ask a question, log on to Spreaker.com, sign up for our account, it's free, and then go to the show, and right below the show, there will be a little space where you can type in your question or story or experience, and I will read it over the air. You do not have to call in to do that. But to win the prize, you must call in. So, here's another good question. Are we alone in the universe? And again, when I talked about actually, I think I answered that one. I think I did. Yeah, I did answer that question. So let's, are there other universes? And We do not know for certain if you ever follow Dr. Michio Kaku. He talks about parallel universes. Theoretical physicist Dr. Michio Kaku. He talks about parallel universes. He talks about parallel universes. I'm drawing a blank on it, but anyways, other universes that, and yes, there are other universes, but are there like parallel universes where is it almost similar to ours but slightly different? Yes, that's quite possible. And Nicole asked a great question that kind of ties in with this. Is there such thing as time travel? And think about Back to the Future. And I'm sure everybody's seen that movie hundreds of times, if not at least once. Think about it when they talked about changing the timeline by going back and screwing something up, and it changes the timeline. Think about it that way. You're possibly traveling to a parallel universe that looks the same as ours, but slightly different. And that is where I believe parallel universes and what time travel, if time travel is possible, which I do believe it is possible, look at the Philadelphia experiment. They mentioned time travel, or at least cloaking. And there are different stories on it, what happened with the Philadelphia, USS Philadelphia, Eldridge, I believe. I don't know why I wanted to say USS Philadelphia, but USS Eldridge. And it disappeared and came back, and there were guys reportedly fused into the bulkhead of the ship. And remember when I was talking about at the beginning of the show, if you were here from the beginning, that I talked about I forgot what I was talking about, but talking about something like this, and I just can't remember. I'd drawn a blank, sorry. But anyways, they were fused into the bulkhead of the ship. But, I was talking about government things, as I was talking about, and talking about UFOs and Freedom of Information Act, that we got these declassified information. I was reading the story up on the Talk of the Night website, which is under the story of the day for those that are tuning in late. But anyways, our government has this, I believe, this technology. They're just not giving us all the information until we can get declassified information or a very heavily redacted version of it. We're never going to know the answer unless we experience it ourselves. So even to this day, even though there's declassified evidence on the USS Eldridge and the Philadelphia experiment, the Montauk Project, Manhattan Project, everything like that, we will not know the true everything in it, because yes, if it's declassified, they have to give it to us when we file a Freedom Information Act request. But who's to say that they're giving us everything that is in that report or that file that they have? Now, there have been whistleblowers that have worked at Area 51. There's been whistleblowers that have worked other places, and they have tried to silence them or have silenced them. So I know we're not getting everything that we are requesting. Nicole says, I think they're afraid it might cause mass hysteria. Why they keep things classified. Look what some bought toilet paper during the pandemic. Can you imagine? But a lot of people are wising up to a lot of things, and that's why I like exploring political and conspiracy things too. Because a lot of people are waking up, but there's a lot of people that are not fully awake on what's truly going on. And yes, you have to dig in. You have to travel down that rabbit hole, if you will, and look at everything with a skeptical mind, or a mind that is open to the possibility, if you will. And again, maybe next Friday night I might get into something like that. I might do it after this commercial break. But we are at the last break of the hour. Again, when we come back, I will give you one more chance to win the autographed T-shirt. If not, we'll do it another time. We'll get right back after this short commercial break.
Wondering when I'll do something that isn't quite so dumb. Staring at a city like somebody with bad luck. Sliding down the sidewalk on a quick 3-mile run. I cannot see where I am going. There cannot be a better way of knowing.
Do you need music for your radio show, podcast, or YouTube channel, but need a music license to play it on your show? Well, go to artlist.io and check out the plans they have. They have 3 plans to choose from: personal, unlimited, and enterprise. All the music that you hear on the show is from Artlist, and there is a banner ad on the show's website. Check it out today. Do you love the strange, unusual, and weird unexplained mysteries? Do you like reading about the paranormal and other happenings? Well, I have the website for you, unexplainedmysteries.com. On there you will find so much, such as the latest news and articles, forums, news with video, and so much more. That's unexplained-mysteries.com, or you can click on the banner ad on the show's website to take you right there. Do you love history? Do you wonder what happened on this day in history? Well, check out history.com/this day in history and find out what happened on this day in recorded history. You can also click on the image on the Talk of the Night website under This Day in History and check out one of the many things that happened. The show's website lists a different event in history every day, so check it out today.
The end of the world at the palm of my hand. When it all goes to hell, will you still be my friend? My face to the sea and my back to the land.
To call into the show, Skype Talk in the Night or by phone at 817-717-1280. Now back to Talking the Night with your host, Paranormal Phil.
Okay, and we are back in the last segment, last half hour of the show, and this is your last chance to win that autograph shirt and everything like that, a $25 value free. You must call in while I'm live. I'm only going to give this 10 more minutes, and if you do not call in, do not win it, or do not get the answer correctly, I will push that off to maybe another Friday down the line. But here is the question. Again, you must listen live. You must call in while I'm live tonight, and you must answer the question correctly. So on Monday night, I had Bruce Olaf Solheim on the show talking about his book. What was the name of the ancient alien on the book? If you look up, I'll give you a hint. If you look him up and go to his website, it will talk about his book, and you can find the name there. But you got 9 minutes now to do so. Again, I will push it off until next week if you do not call in within the next 10 minutes. Not next week, a week further on down the line on Friday night open lines. So let's get into something other than the paranormal. Let's talk about technology. And here is a question from the EnglishPost.org. And these are questions that are asked, general discussion questions. But I wanted to answer one of these questions. And the question I want to answer is, what are the disadvantages of technology? Our lives have been integrated with all kinds of technology, whether it be smartphones, whether it be with computers. I know growing up, going to school, and I know Nicole can attest to this. Back when I was in school, there was no computer. There was, in high school, I had like the big old brick phone. You've probably seen them like old war movie type things, those big old phones with the big antenna on them. Yeah, that was my first phone. And that was in high school. Otherwise, we had to, if we wanted to call, we either had a pager or we had to call from a payphone. Our lives have been integrated quite a bit with technology. And what are the disadvantages of technology? And I believe that we have lost that connection with each other because of technology. Now, it has helped us. There are advantages to it, but there are also a lot of disadvantages to technology and everything like that. And so there's a lot of that. So it's just a matter of what you think on technology, but I believe we have lost that human connection, that connection between people because of technology, because of smartphones and everything else. So there's that. Nicole says it may fall into our enemy hands and they start a nuclear war or something. Well, everybody has that technology nowadays, so it's not so much falling into other hands on that. But think about the movie iRobot and that technology. If we get to the point where we have robots running around and they kind of take over things, there is that possibility. Think about, let's see, what else can I think of? Smart homes. You probably heard of smart homes. what happens if a storm, or even electrical cars, think about that, and a storm or an EMP pulse knocks out things, then we can't drive. We can't get around. So it's a double-edged sword. Yes, it can be helpful, but yes, it can be harmful too. So think about that. Let's see. Okay, this is more on technology. So I wanted to go to something else besides technology. And Nicole says, oh, shoot, I opened something I didn't want to open. Nicole says, another favorite movie, they have those robots now similar out. Well, not to general public yet, but yes, there are. A while back, there was I want to say, a robot that kind of had disdain for human life, if you will. They asked the question and it just didn't, it blurted out something that probably shouldn't. Now, yes, the robot was programmed to have responses, but does it mean that it was supposed to have that response? No, I don't think it was, but again, you make up your mind. Yeah, AI apps now too. So, I mean, yes, it's a double-edged sword. Again, like I said, it's helpful, but it's not helpful. And again, I think we're going to come to a point where we'll end up with an EMP pulse that'll shut down everything. And luckily, I have a little bit of training on survival, so I would be able to survive. But most people, especially in the city, will not know what to do if, I mean, look at that big old blackout in New York, for example, on the East Coast. People were, or look at here in Texas, a couple of years back when we had that snowstorm and a lot of people lost power. People were not knowing what to do, not knowing how to heat their houses or how to stay warm and stuff like that. And as Nicole said, I would panic. Yeah, now, like I said, yes, people won't know what to do unless they have some survival training. Now, like I said, when I was in Boy Scouts, my scoutmaster was an ex-Army Ranger. So I learned how to make makeshift traps. I learned how to survive off the land. I learned how to boil water to drink. I learned how to survive without water if I needed to until I could get to water. I learned a lot of helpful knowledge that's still stuck into my head today. So a lot of people won't know what to do if we got hit by an EMP pulse. So again, with the technology, it's a double-edged sword. It's helpful but not helpful, if you will. So let's see. How about a conspiracy type question? Let's see if I can find something here. Because everybody's talking about Russia, and on Monday night, I got a guess that we're going to talk about political stuff, what's going on in the world and everything like that. But I want to give you something other than something like that. I want to give you, because there's so many conspiracies out there, like the moon landing, the earth is flat, JFK assassination, excuse me, I got the hiccups. Everybody's heard about those conspiracies, but I mean, like the C virus. I won't mention it because I don't want my show shut down, but I have different beliefs on what caused it, what's happening, how it came to be. But I will save my opinion on that for something else, or when I have somebody talking about it. But until then, I will say my opinion on it. Let's see. Let's go to, this is more of a story than a question. And it says, the final phase in the elites, hold on, let me bring this down so I can see. The final phase in the elite UN central banker, New World Order, Illuminati, or whatever name they are identified by, will eliminate billions of people and will make them heroes. Their plan is set for it to end phase to accumulate in September 2024 before the U.S. presidential elections take place. Now, again, this is a conspiracy theory. This is something I'm reading. I will give you my thoughts on it after I finish reading it, but I'm not going to say I agree or disagree with it until I actually read it and give you my thoughts on it. Again, this is my opinion on it too, and you might have a different opinion than me, and that's actually a good thing to have a difference of opinion on things, because it opens a discussion. It opens the possibility to talk about different things. So and we're so divided by propaganda, by race, by so many different things, political parties, that we're not willing to talk to the other side because we think we're right and they're wrong, and vice versa. When, believe it or not, and this is my opinion, that they are pitting us against each other just so that they have that ability, but they're both in the same camp together, both political parties. But again, that's my opinion. I'll save it there. But let me finish reading this real quick, because we're getting near the end of the show. And if you did not get a chance to call in, again, I will not give you another chance to call in tonight. Maybe down the line, I'll give you another chance to win that autographed shirt, but otherwise, not tonight, and not when after the show is over. You had to call in live tonight, listen to the show. Otherwise, you didn't win. Okay, so continue on. This has also been decided that at this time, 150 Chinese stocks will be delisted for not allowing audits, which will be the cause for the largest crash in stock market history. Work by governments in the holographic field is already way ahead of its time. Once 5G is finished being installed, it will be used to project holograms in the sky worldwide. Now, there are a lot of conspiracies about 5G, and I do have my opinions on it. I don't think it's good. But like I said, with technology, it's a double-edged sword. Yes, it's good in a way, but it's also bad in a way. So now, whether they're going to be able to project holograms in the sky worldwide, I doubt. Not saying it can't happen. I'm just saying I very seriously doubt it. It says these holograms will be used to camouflage government spaceships as alien UFOs. The holograms will mask new government aerial bomber planes. Now, we do have stealth technology. We all know this. The B-2 stealth bomber, B-14 stealth bomber. We have this technology to mask the planes. So, and I've seen a thing where somebody has actually invented a shield that kind of masks a person to where you can see through it. Now, I don't know if that is done with CGI like a green screen, because I've never seen it in person. Now, yes, it could be done with a green screen, because you take a green screen on a board and you put it in a camera into a computer system, and you can make it look like the background. If you've ever seen my YouTube videos where it looks like the background, my logo is behind me, when in actuality there is a green screen behind me. So it just makes me blend in. As long as I'm not wearing green, it makes me blend in with the background, kind of, if you will, and shows me, but not the green screen behind me. So there is that possibility of that. Now, if you tried to fly a plane that had that green screen color, unless you got that into a system, you're most likely going to see a green plane. And you have to match that color and the lighting perfectly. I know, working with green screens, I've learned all this technology by myself, by doing and everything like that. So I'm not gonna read any more of this, but yeah, as far as 5G, yes, there are goods and bads to it. To what they're saying, I don't believe a lot of it, but again, I could be wrong. And this is where I like to research everything that I look into, and get the truth, because we're not getting the truth by our news media, mainstream media. People like myself that are independent journalists, or independent talk show hosts and everything like that.
I just heard you say that. So he's here.
Hold on. I'm still on there. Sorry. My roommate, hold on. I'm still on there. But again, I'll leave that to everybody to, but I'll research it, and I will find out the truth eventually. I'll eventually find out the truth on things, but it's up to each person to get the truth. And mainstream media, I don't think is going to tell us the truth. I've seen too many lies through mainstream media. So, again, I'll let you make up your mind. Nicole says, I hate wearing red to Target. I forgot I did the other day. Lucky no one asked if I worked there. Nah, I've had that happen working at Castle Parker. We had a red shirt that ride operators had to wear if we were just regular employees. And we tried not to go into Target and get mistaken for Target employees. But again, we'll leave it there. Now, we got about 7 minutes left in the show. I want to mention, I'm going to end it there with the stories and everything. Like I said, next Friday, we'll open up the phone lines again. You can call and share your stories, experiences, questions about the paranormal or anything else the show talks about. Like I said, wide variety of things other than sports and music. Those two topics I don't talk about. So let's talk about what I do have coming up next week on the show. And I got some great shows coming up next week. And it's a wide variety. Whereas this first week, it was strictly mainly paranormal stuff. Next week, it's going to be a mixed bag of things. So next week on Monday night, we have my friend Ed Roman, indie artist and Canadian, who is we're going to be talking about the political climate in Canada, the U.S., and around the world, and we'll be discussing the convoys that were up there in Canada, as well as the ones here down in the U.S., and other things in the political conspiracy type things on Monday night. Then on Tuesday night, we're going to get into energy healing and spiritual teaching with my guest Lynn Cochran as we talk about energy healing, spiritual teaching, conscious growth, and our books to help people be the best they can be. Then on Wednesday, a friend of David Oman, if you know David Oman, a friend of his who actually edited David Oman's book, Ghost of CLO Drive, Dave Sheldon is going to be joining me on the show to talk about his work in TV and film as well as other projects. We'll also talk about the editing of David Oman's book as well as his music and his comedy series, Cemetery Go-Go. And then on Thursday, we're going to be talking about, in the health realm, of water and the immune system with my guest, Mike Lancaster, as we talk about healing the body with structured water. We will talk about the effects on the body that Kenyan water has on the immune system and how it can help. So, like I said, we got a wide variety of different topics next week. And then, of course, next Friday night, we will be back with Friday Night Open Lines. Again, I will not be giving away anything next Friday, but be sure to like, subscribe, and follow me on all of the show's social media channels, Facebook, Twitter, Discord, Instagram, LinkedIn a little bit. Also go to talkingthenight.com. You can find all the information on next week's guest, the last week's guest, and guests that I've had on the show in the past. Got a lot there. Then under Story of the Day, every day you'll find a new show. Also, there'll be a recap of last show, past stories of the day, this day in history. And if you'd like to advertise on the show, contact me at talkingthenight@outlook.com. Get your voice heard. Yes, we're just starting out, but already getting people listening around the world. We got listeners in India and the UK, as well as here in the US and Canada. So eventually we're going to get more places like Germany, France, Australia, everything like that. So please be sure to share that around. Let people know that I am on Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Central Time. That is 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern when I go live. Somebody thought I was on the East Coast time and they were trying to see where I was at 9 o'clock Eastern when it was only 8 o'clock my time and I still had an hour left to go. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in, and until next Monday when I welcome my guest Ed Roman as we talk about political stuff, I shall see you on the dark side. Good night from Talking the Night.
Late at night, darkness has fallen. Turn on the radio, and you hear him talking. Listening to what he has to say, all about paranormal and all other things. When he sounds off, you can hear him say, see you on the dark side. Yes, you can hear